And I'm not convinced that social media is the way to solve that problem, because social media has not been around for all of human history.
Why are Christians so bad at being peacemakers? And I don't even mean with culture, I mean with each other. We talked just recently about, and I can't even remember the example because it seems like there's one a week of, this Christian's going after this Christian publicly. And it's not that ideas shouldn't be debated publicly, but the spirit with which it happens, the name calling, it's just nasty. Why are Christians seemingly as bad as anybody else at making peace?
So this is something, I guess this is something that I think has bothered me for a while, but before COVID, because I just noticed a change. I just noticed fighting and just really hurtful things being said on social media for several years now. And it really, I didn't realize it at the time, but I think it really started wearing me out. And it's because I think as an apologist, you expect to go out to a university, a retreat, a group, something, an audience somewhere, and to be at odds with people. You know that. And like you said, you got to have a thick skin to be able.
What you signed up for, right?
It's what you sign up for. And so you do that, but you know that you can always come home. And home not necessarily meaning your physical house, but home meaning you can come home to the people that don't fight with you. And what I was noticing was happening is I would go out there and speak and be challenged and challenge each other. And that's great. And that's good. And that's what I'm doing. But then when I came home, it was still fighting. It was still the church was fighting. So when I go out to do ministry or any kind of work, there's fighting. When I come home within the church, there's fighting. So there was no place I could go where there was peace. And it just started to wear on me, where I was like, how can I just shut out the noise? And this is something, like I said, it's pre-COVID. And if you think of a lot of things that happened with COVID and the different things we've had over the last several years, I mean, this predated it that it was going. So to answer your question, why are Christians like, I think it's because of so many of the reasons we said, where I think as opposed to feeling like there has the sense of justice is I've got to protect this Christian message, which I get. I totally get. We all want to protect the truth of Christianity. We don't want false teachers being out there, and we don't want people spreading things that aren't true, because people are following them. They have followers they're influencing their lives. And I totally get that sense of justice. My concern is, I agree with you on the problem. It is the means through which we solve that problem. I think for me that the disagreement is, and I'm not convinced that social media is the way to solve that problem, because social media has not been around for all of human history, right? It's something of the last 15 or so years, probably not even quite that much yet. So before that, there was a way that we were dealing with these things. And so we've changed to make it be this. And I understand they got followers and you can get your message out to a lot of people. And I'm, and okay, maybe, yeah, that's true. But have you actually changed people? Like your ultimate problem, have you actually solved it? Have you actually changed the way people have thought? Because now what you're asking people to do as you challenge them on social media is you're asking them to have humility and change their position in front of thousands. Think about how effective that is going to be versus a one-on-one conversation.
Oh my gosh. So that sparked something, and I want to come back to another thing here, but I say a lot to people that, part of maturity is knowing how hard to argue a belief. There are some beliefs that, based on a number of factors, but there are a number of beliefs that you can have a very high degree of certainty that it's true. And arguing fiercely for that is appropriate. The danger, though, is the harder you argue for something, the harder it is to ever admit you're wrong.
Yes.
So there's a risk of arguing fiercely because of just good old-fashioned pride.
Yes.
Compound that with now you did this in front of thousands of people,
Hmm.
or at least you think you did. We have our hundreds or thousands of friends, and we think our posts probably are seen by more than others, but it's public nonetheless. That really causes you to dig your heels in. And so yeah, there's some discretion that needs to come with, back to social media, but arguing in generally, just this principle of be careful how hard you argue a point, because the harder you argue a point, the harder it will ever be to admit that you're wrong. And so be
Yes.
very selective in what you argue that way, and
Hmm.
not all issues need to be argued as fiercely.